Well, thank you for inviting me back for part 2 of real nutrition and real life. So we already discussed how medicine has to change because at the cellular level, we have 10 times more microbial cells than human cells. And any discussion on health has to include our microbiota and how our immune system reacts to our microbiota. And in the first 4 years of life, we teach our immune system to live in concert with our microbiota. If it's untrained, then the immune system responds in very unpredictable ways. And we can even go to war against our own body and start making antibodies to our own proteins, which is causing then systemic inflammation that leads to these non-communicable diseases. I already discussed the war that starts in your intestines. This is the most important place for you to take personal responsibility and where you can make the greatest change. And it's not as hard and complicated as people think it is. For people who are mostly healthy and they want to stay healthy. Now, during the break, some people came to me with some very, very serious challenges. And I am not in a position in this atmosphere or ever to really diagnose, as I am not your physician. I am not a physician. I'm a biochemist and researcher. So I want to just encourage you to really take in this information because it's going to open the door for you to look at other ways that you can help yourself or a loved one. But you have to take into account when you're looking at the information, are they just giving me antibiotics or are they actually helping to change the microbiota? And unfortunately, prolonged care in the medical setting, especially in a hospital, right now it's not designed to help your microbiota. So let's see what's happening in the intestine. That slide I showed earlier, the cross-section of the intestine. If you look at the cells are lined like this. So these are called enterocytes, and this is one cell, this is another cell. And there's all these villi because you have to have a lot of surface area so you can absorb all the nutrition from the food you're eating. And certain foods, especially gluten, like gluten is going to open up this very tight gap. There should be no space between this cell and this cell. And when you eat gluten for 20 minutes, there's a gap. And even if you don't think you have a gluten sensitivity, you do. And so if you have a serious condition, even if you don't, I would say avoiding gluten is very, very important to keep this intact. On the left, you see that if everything is going well, only food that's properly broken down comes through and gets absorbed, and you have homeostasis. On the right, you have inflammation. You also have, from environmental toxins and viruses and other pathogens that come into the body. If there's inflammation, the body also hangs onto fat for some reason. And this is called steatosis, so just so you understand that word. And the body just hangs onto fat. And then also cell death can occur. So this war we must stop. Every time you eat, I want you to think about, am I feeding good bacteria or bad bacteria? How can we create peace between the bacteria and your immune system? Again, the answer lies in feeding the helpful bacteria. So, what do you feed them? Eric Alm is a well-known researcher in the field. And we scientists are crazy. We do crazy things for the purpose of science. So imagine taking your stool sample every day for a year, as well as logging over 300 different factors, trying to find if your microbiota changes from these lifestyle changes. So Eric Alm and his colleagues did this. And they only found 2 things that changed the gut microbiota. And one was flossing. Again, this oral health seems to be very important. And the second is fiber. You see, the good bacteria eat fiber, they also eat what are called resistant starches, that is, starches that we cannot break down. And they ferment the fiber and the starches, and they make critical nutrients that we also need. And they keep that lining intact in the intestines. So the name of the game is to recreate that friendly bacteria with a wide diversity of plant matter with fiber in it. And what that will do is help you adapt to your environment that much better and fight toxicity and fight pathogens better. So what he found, this data is actually what we call big data because it's a lot of information, and it's actually three-dimensional, but we'll try to imagine this. What happens is the data shows the abundance and the diversity of the microbiota. And for every 10 grams of fiber, you are increasing this diversity by 11% the next day. So if you got 10 grams of additional fiber today, you have better bacteria tomorrow by 11%. That's good news, right? Is that good news? Yes? Who's listening? Okay, just checking. Okay, so in our modern world, we're so challenged because of all those things I talked about, antibiotics, breastfeeding versus formula feeding, not playing outdoors enough, all these changes, too much gluten and meat and processed foods in the diet. If you look at nomadic tribes today that are living today on this same toxic planet that you and I are living on, if you look at their microbiota, they have much better microbiota than we do. These are nomads that live in South America and in Africa. They have more abundance and more variety. So the name of the game is abundance and variety. The orange dots are the genome research from the Human Microbiome Project done in the United States. So Western diets in general don't have the same abundance as nomads, okay? So that's important to understand. And consider every serving of Juice Plus Complete gives you 10.5 grams of fiber. And those nomads are getting over 100 grams of fiber every day. And this very complicated slide shows all these reactions we already know that give us essential nutrients like small chain fatty acids from breaking down resistant starches, and then they turn around and make also vitamin B12 and vitamin K, which is important to keep that intestinal lining intact. So, plant-based diets help you help your bacteria make small chain fatty acids. It's important to understand that you cannot make small chain fatty acids, nor can you ingest them and get them where they need to go all the way down into the large intestine. And the one place we want a lower pH is in the large intestine. That's the one place we want lower pH because that creates a very unfriendly environment for pathogens, for deadly bacteria and viruses to grow. So I'll just give you an example. I can't go through all of them, but butyrate is one such small chain fatty acid. And it's important for keeping the intestinal barrier robust, reducing oxidative stress, and ion absorption, immune regulation, intestinal motility, which means being able to move feces down the intestine properly so you don't have constipation, and visceral perception. So many people are missing these microbes that are going to help you make this butyrate. So what can we do? Can we go back to a nomadic way of life? Anybody ready? No one? You ready to go? We have one taker, 2 people, 3, 4. That's it? Nobody else wants to go be a nomad? Okay. Here's an idea. How about getting all these fruits and vegetables into your system every day and getting that huge variety of plant matter every day. And based on clinical outcomes, we have seen already, it is clear to me that these products change your microbiome. If you go to the Juice Plus website, under the clinical research, you will see that it's categorized the research is categorized under various systems in the body. And the comprehensive nature of our research is unprecedented and makes me feel very confident when I'm recommending Juice Plus for myself and my family and everyone else. That's quite impressive, all those studies. Think of these products as powerful probiotics, food for your bacteria. Most of what you see with the naked eye when you're looking at the capsule is actually fiber, but the colors come from the phytonutrients. So think of it like a coral reef. A coral reef, if it didn't have the algae on it, it would just be white, off-white, okay? And then the algae that grows on it gives it the colors. Juice Plus is mostly all these different fibers from all these different fruits and vegetables that go into the product, but the phytonutrients give it the color that you're seeing. Does that make sense? So already you're getting not a lot of fiber, but a huge variety of fiber. That's important. In addition, Complete has a nice blend of fiber and resistant starches like inulin. So many people are concerned with the sugar in Complete. Yet, if vegetables came with a label, sugar would be either the first or the second ingredient. Every fruit and vegetable would have an ingredient label that looks much like Complete. We are so confused about sugar. I want to really make you understand how important sugar is in our diet, and when people try to avoid it, the mistakes that they make. And having fiber slows down the entry of the sugar into the blood serum. That's what's called the glycemic load. So I was studying willpower for a while, and I was wondering, what is willpower? Is it that I don't have a willpower gene and you do? You know, what is willpower? Okay? Willpower turns out to be a function of blood sugar. When you eat, you want your sugar to rise a little bit because your brain burns a lot of sugar for calories. So do all the muscle. Every cell in your body burns sugar to make ATP, which is the energy molecule. So avoiding sugar is not really a realistic solution. You just have to get your sugar from the same source as you get your fiber. Does that make sense? Very simple. Plants do that very naturally. Otherwise, if you're eating, let's just say, pasta or pita bread or something like that, then you're getting not enough fiber, and the sugar rises up, and then it comes crashing down. When it comes crashing down, like the light blue curve down at the bottom, when your sugar's down here, you hate everybody. And you're an aggressive driver. And you make poor food decisions. Okay? You have no willpower down there. Your brain is saying, give me sugar now. Give me sugar now. Have those M&Ms, have those Snickers, have that candy, have that soda pop. Just eat a cookie, do something now. Because my sugar down here is not working. Okay? So your brain is saying, eat sugar now. Juice Plus products are extremely low glycemic load foods. Again, if fruits and vegetables came with a label, it would look much like Juice Plus Complete. So, think of different kinds of carbohydrates we can eat. There are some good ones and bad ones. So, if you look at the good ones, they are your green and non-starchy vegetables, your whole grains besides wheat, rye, and barley. You've got rice, quinoa, millet, tapioca, semolina. These are fine. Starchy vegetables and fruits. The bad stuff, soda pop, sweet drinks, fried foods, highly processed grains such as white rice, and all those colorful boxed cereals. Oof. Why is this good? Because it has fiber. This side has, left side has fiber. Left side also has micronutrients that your body needs. And so they are prebiotics. They are food for your bacteria. On the other side, you're basically feeding your parasites, especially cancer cells. Cancer cells love sugar without fiber. Plants are amazing. To me, plants are mystical. They take the 4 elements, air, in the form of carbon dioxide, water, H2O, earth, which are the minerals from the ground, and fire, photons from the sun, and they make matter. They make matter. A seed turns into a tree. How does this happen? It happens because plants make sugar. Sugar is the beginning of matter. Does that make sense? And so we have to understand our evolution comes from utilizing these sugars properly. We have recently learned that breast milk is not just a source of protein, fat, and cholesterol that we thought was very important for a baby's growth. A new mom spends a lot of her energy making complex sugar called human milk oligosaccharides for the baby's bacteria. The journey of life is the journey of bacteria populations being established to break down more and more complex sugars, finally fiber. So once babies turn 2, they can make their own cholesterol. They don't really need milk, animal milk, especially. You don't want to give a baby cow milk because cow milk is for a calf to become a cow. Okay, lots of growth hormones there. Cow milk does not have human milk oligosaccharides. Now, sometimes parents try to feed their children vegetables a little too early. And I say with young children, start with fruits because their bacteria is not so mature yet. Fruit, or if you're giving them vegetables like broccoli, maybe lightly steam it to actually break down some of the fiber because they're not quite mature. Then when you become adult, you start to like, if you're on this track, you will develop taste for all kinds of vegetables, bitter vegetables, even root vegetables, bark even. I like chewing on cinnamon sticks. Cinnamon's an amazing, bark that helps lower blood pressure. So all these plants serve a purpose. So in the middle of life, we want to have a wide taste for different kinds of plants. And then as you get older, especially if you have health challenges, you have to kind of go back to eating more like the child, where you're eating more fruits and cooked vegetables and things like that. But people say, well, you're talking a lot about plants. Where do I get my protein? Just for a second, I want you to visualize a thoroughbred racehorse. Would it be okay to feed that horse chicken? How about protein powders? Is that how the horse became such an amazingly strong, fast animal? Because it ate steak? Right? No. Eggs? No, that's not what happened. You don't need to feed the body these things. Why is that? Well, let's really look at the numbers. If you look at 500 calories of basically plant-based foods versus animal-based foods, so you have equal parts of tomatoes, spinach, lima beans, peas, and potatoes, I think. I can't quite read the slide here, versus beef, milk, all those animal products. What you see is that on both sides of the equation, you get about the same amount of protein, because proteins are actually mostly enzymes that carry on life. Okay, so a plant is doing a lot of biochemical work. It is doing photosynthesis, it's doing lots of things. So it is full of protein, just like the animal product. All living things have protein, otherwise they wouldn't be alive. So protein is not the issue. Then you have fat. The plant foods have 4 grams of fat, and those fats are the omega fats, okay? Only plants make omega fats. The animal products have 9 times more fat, and that fat is saturated fat that clogs up your arteries, and it's also cholesterol. Now, notice that the plant matter has all these nutrients, including 31 grams of fiber. Animal products, of course, no fiber. Plants have no cholesterol. So think about what's going on here. On the other side is you're feeding your parasites. I have read lots and lots of papers about, okay, can we go back a slide? I have read lots and lots of papers about the benefits of plants and what they do for us. I have not read one single article about how animal products feed our healthy bacteria. When you die, what happens to your flesh? It decays. How does it decay? Microorganisms take over. They start eating it. So you have plant-eating bacteria. Okay? Do you know where I'm going with this? Or you have flesh-eating bacteria. Which do you want to feed your microbiome? Think about that for a second. This is what made me think I better eat more plant matter and as little animal product as possible. And eventually I just decided it's easier just to be vegan. I'm not trying to convince anybody. I'm just saying the parasite equation is one to really consider. Okay, but many people are doing protein shakes. And so the Complete has plant protein, including soy. And there's a lot of controversy about soy, especially on the internet, if you look. And people think, oh, soy is going to give me breast cancer, or soy is going to give me man boobs. My husband's eating it, soy in Complete for 22 years. No man boobs yet. So that's good. So I ask people, I want you to do me a favor. Consider if you're going to avoid phytoestrogens, plant estrogens, you're going to have to give up all plants, because all plants have phytoestrogens. All plants have phytoestrogens, okay? Not just soy, first of all. Second of all, phytoestrogens are very, very helpful because we're exposed to a lot of plastic, and plastic mimics our hormones and can propagate cancer. Phytoestrogens sit on the estrogen receptors and block the action of things like too much estrogen or phytoestrogens and prevent cancer. Does that make sense? So actually, I have asked people, okay, I know you read an article on the internet, but I want you to bring me one study, one clinical study, just one, showing that soy causes breast cancer or causes man boobs or causes whatever you think it causes. And to this day, 22 years later, nobody has brought me one clinical study. Lots of opinions, lots of articles, lots of things that look like references, but if you actually read the references and look up the references, they are not clinical studies. There is not one clinical study showing soybeans, which is just a bean, is bad for you. And on top of that, our soybeans are non-GMO and minimally processed, washed with water, no harsh chemicals. So Juice Plus Complete actually gives you all the benefits of phytoestrogens. It's nothing to be afraid of. It's very protective in reality. You see, proteins, I'm going to really explain a little chemistry to you. Proteins, think of proteins as a chain of pearls, and each pearl is an individual amino acid. And when you digest your food, you want to break down every last amino acid down and then absorb it. If you don't break it down completely because you're trying to eat too much protein, then what happens is chunks of protein come into this inflamed gut, and then the immune reaction is, oh, it must be a virus, and then you have a peanut allergy or something because you're suddenly eating foods that you become allergic to because you have an inflamed gut and you're getting too much of protein. So we don't have a protein deficiency, we have a plant deficiency, is my point. Again, here's another. I've read lots and lots of studies that say a high-fat diet, which means animal products, too much animal products, and a high carbohydrate, sugar diet, which means processed carbohydrates. Processed carbohydrates are what lead to obesity and dysbiosis. Here's a story. Vicky Martini, veteran personal trainer with over 25 years of experience. She says, after being hospitalized for toxic levels of undigested whey protein in my gut, all in the attempt to achieve optimal fitness, I began to seek answers. I have experienced metabolic burnout, high protein ketosis from competing in bodybuilding and fitness events, and most recently, adrenal exhaustion. Changing over to Juice Plus Complete Shakes has saved me, my health, and my profession. Now, if people are trying to lose weight, I tell them to also avoid wheat, rye, barley, as they have gluten, as well as dairy, because these are the two most inflammatory foods that really trigger your immune system. And that will help them reduce weight. Michelle's story is wonderful. Not only did she lose weight, she got taller. I'm waiting for that result myself. But what she really did is she fed her friendly bacteria. Okay, now I'm going to talk about polyphenols. So polyphenols, that word represents thousands and thousands of different kind of compounds like bioflavonoids and other phytonutrients that help us. Polyphenols protect you from UV radiation from the sun. Polyphenols, to me, are really superior to antibiotics for fighting pathogens, especially, antibiotics don't fight viruses, but polyphenols do. They fight all kinds of viruses. They also reduce, so Juice Plus, by the way, was tested for polyphenol content, and it turns out to be, the researchers were surprised at just how much polyphenols are in the products, especially the berry blend. Again, they protect you in other ways too. They also protect you from NCDs like cancer and cardiovascular disease and diabetes and osteoporosis and neurodegenerative diseases. So this is something that scientists are very, very excited about. You'll be seeing a lot more information about polyphenols, and I just want you to really know that Juice Plus is probably one of the richest sources and cheapest sources of polyphenols that you can get. Now, the other important thing to understand is that your microbiome is what's processing those polyphenols. So you need a combination of the capsules and the complete, because it's not like you can just eat your polyphenols, and if you don't have a functioning microbiota, you're not going to really absorb and utilize those polyphenols. So this is why I think the combination of Juice Plus and Complete is so powerful, because you're getting all these polyphenols from the Juice Plus capsules, and then you're feeding the fiber, a variety of fibers, to enrich your microbiota that can then turn around and utilize those polyphenols properly to help really slow down the aging process. Polyphenols have been shown to really slow down the aging process more than probably anything else that we've researched that you can eat. So we have such an opportunity here to make simple changes that can reestablish your microbial garden and experience better health. Juice Plus products have helped many overcome these factors that we described that disrupt your microbiome. And I'm going to read you from this book that I just recently recommended to John Blair, The Human Superorganism. And what it says is, when we have the most opportunity to set the stage for a healthy life is in the beginning. An improperly educated, dysfunctional, or out-of-control immune system can make you very sick and kill you. You need the immune system to develop appropriately, to function in a controlled manner, to function in balance, and to recognize and respond to actual threats, but tolerate and leave alone your healthy cells and tissues, as well as innocuous environmental factors like foods and allergens. The best way to ensure this happens is to connect the immune system with a healthy microbiome from birth, to have the immune system properly educated and brought to balance. We now know that protecting our microbiome has this essential purpose. When you truly understand how these products can support you in this effort, your microbiome being healthier for the rest of your life, you will naturally and much more easily thrive. We, as a family, are sold on Juice Plus products for life. I hope you will be too. And what I wish for all of us is peace, love, and understanding between your immune system and your microbiota. Shalom. Tova.